This is Focus on You with Phil and Oscar. I am just the Oscar part today because Phil has not been able to post bail. So, no, it's not true. He did post bail, but yeah, they won't let him out. He's behind the scenes pushing all the buttons, and I think I'm getting all sorts of messages from him. Martha, Martha, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for showing up. This has been a crazy technology problem day. I don't
Mhm.
know if it's sunspots or the aliens are flying by and trying to upset our. They just didn't want us on the air today, but we're doing it anyway, in spite of the odds. Um, let's start with you. Who is Martha? Why should we speak to her? Why are we featuring her today? You weren't in the Olympics, so that wasn't it. So there must be something else. Just that I googled you, and you take up half of the internet. It is just like page after page after. What haven't you done? Let's go with the short list.
Well, I haven't sung the national anthem for the Denver Broncos. That is a big dream of mine. So I'm putting it out there. Somebody's going to have a connection and make it happen. But aside from that, I am very fortunate to have been able to fulfill many of my dreams, starting with the big, big American dream. I am originally from Brazil, born and raised. And from a young age, I was obsessed with the American culture and language. Brazil has a huge influence of American movies and music, obviously, but I took it a step further. And by the age of 14, I was teaching English and getting paid for it, teaching it to friends, family. And that became my career. I already knew what I wanted to do and major in. I got two degrees in English, one in translation and one in linguistics, one in Brazil and one here in Denver, Colorado by UC Denver. But huge plot twist in 2016, I gave birth to triplets. And as
How?
you can imagine, that shook things up a little in terms of the way I saw myself and what I saw for my future. And I really started feeling the pull to mentor and encourage other moms. And I didn't know what that was going to look like, but I started my business when my babies were 9 months old. That's how long I could wait. I got started right away, and what the business looks like now has changed a lot since the beginning. But throughout the journey, I started listening to what people had to say about what they saw in me and how they could see that I could help them. And it's evolved into helping women, especially women entrepreneurs, with visibility. So I call myself a visibility strategist because I have been able to gain visibility for myself, as you said and as you noted. And now I teach that. I encourage women to put themselves out there. I always like to say that we're here for a reason. There's a Bible verse that says a lamp is not lit to be hidden under a table. We put the lamp up top, up high, and that's what we're supposed to do as humans with our uniqueness is to shine with our unique brilliance, and that's what I've been up to.
Wonderful. Am I still on? Because I got a thing that says I lost connection. I'm back.
No, you're
Let
here.
me go back. Let me go back to your original statement. Carayo, do Brasil.
Hmm.
Nice. Um, I was born in Argentina, so I'll be friends with you 3 out of 4 years because when that
Okay,
World
sounds
Cup
good.
comes, you know the deal.
I know the
Not
deal.
personal, but I actually have a replica of the World Cup now.
Oh wow.
So who was your inspiration? How did you? Because you've taken on a huge field. Visibility is one thing, but not visibility for women, especially,
Mhm.
is there's another level. So who inspired you? Did you wake up one day and say, "I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to inspire women"? How did how did that evolve? What was the?
I have to say that my mom was a huge role model. She started her own church in Brazil. She's a pastor, and things have changed throughout the years. But at the time, uh, a woman, leading a church, and my dad was not involved at the time. It was something very unusual and very different. And she really paved the way, showing that if you believe in something hard enough, you can do anything. And that's how I ended up in the US, really. That's the other side of the story is she got connected with American ministers She would host these ministers in her church in Brazil, and we would come to conferences in America. And I met my husband in one of these conferences in Oklahoma in 2005, which is crazy to think about. So I would always see her on stage and having this leader role, and I was on stage with her as well, growing up. So she was a huge inspiration of it doesn't matter what people say. If you feel something in your heart, it's not, a mistake. It's not an accident. It's there for a reason. So follow it. And then, throughout my path, I've had lots of men and women who were and have been my mentors that have shown me the same thing. They have this vision, and I was talking to Phil a little bit before. You have this vision, and it seems like a huge mountain, like an impossible dream. But if you just start taking the steps, that's how anyone gets anywhere. They had an initial vision, but they didn't just leave it at the vision realm, right? They started taking steps, and it was day by day, and then eventually things started showing up in the surface. But you got to plant the seed and water the seed.
Yeah, it's I don't know. This the optics are weird today. I don't know if I'm on or I'm not on. I see you. I see me like in the side. So I'm going to keep talking until they tell me to go away. Um, so yes, you plant the seed, but how many people have that seed but don't even plant it? I mean, they're like, "Oh, I wish I'm never going to do that." And
Yeah.
it takes a little bit of confidence, a lot of confidence. What pushed you over the edge from just thinking to actually working on it and doing it and becoming as successful as you are?
Yeah. Well, I think it does take surrounding yourself with people that will see those things about you and tell you about it and encourage you, but you also have to listen, right? How many times do we brush off compliments or comments that people have to say? Because I love the saying, you can't see the label, you can't read the label from inside the bottle. And it's so true. People will tell you, if you start paying attention, people are constantly praising you for things that you're good at. And there's a quote by one of my mentors that I love that says, "What's ordinary to you is extraordinary to someone else." So we all have that. We all have something about us that is very extraordinary, but because we live with it every day, it's just commonplace. So surrounding yourself with different people, people that are, not from the same background. And that's what I did, and in getting together with Americans and people from different walks of life, I started hearing what they had to say about about what they were noticing about me, and I actually took steps into that direction. I didn't just brush it off. So I think it's a combination of surrounding yourself with people that are going to be encouraging and actually making yourself believe that you are special. You know, um, I really think in English you have the saying, "You're God's gift to humanity," when you're joking around, but to think about it, we are all God's gift to humanity, right? Otherwise we wouldn't be here. So what is that gift? So I think it's a combination of nature and nurture. How's that?
I like that. I think Mel Robbins once in one of her seminars says the chances of you actually being here is astronomical. It's
Right?
like 1 in 40 trillion chance that you are you and you made it this far. The family lineage, all the plagues and everything else that have knocked out everybody's like, we're
So
here. I
true.
was like, all right, now. And then I saw today actually there was a guy being interviewed, and he pulled out a little strip of paper, and he says it goes from 1 to 100. He's like, most guys will live till about 78. So he takes from 78 to 100, rips it off. Now he has that much left. He says, I'm 57 years old. So this part of my life is gone. So
Mhm.
he's got that much left. And it was
Mm.
really sobering. Like, we only have this amount of time now to make a difference. So we need to do it. Whatever that spark is, you need to get it going because we got a limited time.
That's
And
true.
it's wonderful, that you and I'm keep looking at all the things you were a singer or you are a singer.
Yes.
So where does the singing part come in? Do you?
Well, that's been an interesting journey. So from a young age, also, like I said, huge influence of American music, British music too, English. speaking music. But I was always singing and dancing. I got to take that a step further in singing and playing the piano in church. After getting married and having kids, it was kind of in the back burner, but I started getting opportunities to sing the national anthem, which was something that I was very passionate about. I remember, I don't know if you remember, back in the day when music streaming wasn't as easily accessible, but we had software like Napster
Yeah,
and
I remember when radio was new. So yeah.
right. There you go. So I would download, whole albums of artists, things I wouldn't have gone to the store to go and buy because you had to be very selective since you were spending however much it cost at the time to buy a CD. And I got this album from Leanne Rimes, and one of the songs was her just singing the national anthem a cappella, the American national anthem. And I thought it was just the most beautiful song, and I memorized the words. And when I came to America and I was doing my master's, there was once a contest that you could audition for to sing the national anthem at commencement. And I wasn't even a citizen at the time, but I was like, I'll try it out. I ended up not getting it. But fast forward, I don't know, 6, 7 years later, I heard on the radio about a contest to audition to sing the national anthem at a rodeo, a local rodeo here in Denver for the National Western Stock Show. And I won and I got to sing. And then after that, people started asking me, "Hey, do you want to come and sing for this event? Do you want to come do this? Do you want to come do that?" And it really caught on. I've been able to sing for the Denver Nuggets, for the Colorado Rockies, for the Colorado Rapids. That's why I said the Broncos are still in my bucket list. Um, so I would, and I it became just it's such a rush, to be in front of a huge crowd, singing with no accompaniment whatsoever. It's like adrenaline at an all-time high, and it got me thinking, I love this. I don't want to just be the national anthem singer. I want to sing other stuff as well. So it took me so I sang the national anthem the first time when I won that competition in 2021. It really took me like 2, 3 years to get to the point now where I am doing gigs and concerts and playing in different venues. But I started watering that seed, um, and that was something I was telling Phil. But beforehand is, yeah, I like music and I like singing, but I'm married. I'm older now. I have kids. I'm not going to be a singer. But all the years in building this business where I tell women, what is it that you want? Go and get it. I was like, Marta, you need to practice what you preach. If you really want this, just go and get it. And so I've been getting it.
That is so cool. And that is talk about where do you go after that? Because I'm looking at, okay, I want to sing. Okay, not only am I going to sing, I'm going to sing in front of a whole stadium full of people.
Mhm.
I'm going to do it alone, and I'm going to do it without instruments.
Mhm.
What could possibly go wrong? And
Right.
and but you've done it, and you've done it, multiple times. And next time you do it at a rodeo, you can actually say, "This has not been my first
My
rodeo."
first rodeo. That's true.
That is wonderful. So, all right, since I've never done that, how does that feel to stand there, like just before you do the first word? Because I was a children's magician.
Hmm.
Um, and like before every show, I'd like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I have no idea how. This is like I forgot everything I was going to do. It was like my brain's going, and then I step on stage and everything kicks in. So
Hmm.
what does that feel like pre? I was going to say before the music starts, but you're doing it
There is no
a
music.
cappella. There is no music.
Yeah, no, you described it perfectly. It's like that moment. I always and people ask me, "Oh, do you still get nervous?" Yeah, I get nervous every single time. Sweaty hands, sweaty armpits, the whole 9 yards. Um, and sometimes I'm like, "Why do you do this to yourself, Marta? You are crazy." And then I have to coach myself, whatever way it works. Of half these people are drunk. They're not. It's only 1 minute and 30 seconds. Like I really coach myself, and there was always the concern of what if I forget the lyrics? But it's amazing. It's really like an adrenaline rush of after the first few words come out, you really get into like step into the character and start feeling the emotion of the song and the lyrics, and the crowd starts cheering after a few certain notes that are very typical for the anthem. And it's like, this is it. I'm it. I'm the star. So it's a thrill.
That's wild. And the one thing that people don't realize about the national anthem is it ends in a question.
Hmm.
It's like, does it still stand?
Hmm.
Do we stand up for what the national anthem says? So no, it's great that it ends in a question. I don't know of any other national anthem ends in a question, but that's a little quirk of the U.S. We do things differently
Yes, yes, we do.
here. So to get to this, people would say, well, who promoted you? Did you promote yourself? Do you do self promotion? What is the
Well, it starts with you getting the word out. It's as simple as you decide you have something valuable, you talk about it, opportunities will come. Obviously, it's not overnight. Obviously, you need support, but it's as simple as that. And with the national anthem, how did it start? And I can talk about my business too, but how did it start? It started with me auditioning for a contest. They put the call out there, and I decided I have what it takes. Let me see what these people think, you know?
Right.
And then the other opportunities were once I performed in that venue, other people said, "Hey, I would love for you to do it here too. Are you available?" Uh, the most fun one was my neighbor across the street learned from my husband that I was singing at a different place. He approached me in my driveway one day and said, "Hey, do you want to sing for the Nuggets one day?" I was like, "What do you mean?" Sure.
Excuse
Come
me.
to find out, his best friend is the person in charge of booking the national anthem and entertainment for the games. How did that come about? It was that initial thing of, I want to do this now, and I'm going to do it. It didn't just in my mind, and then the guy found out that was in my mind and invited me. No, that doesn't exist. So it all starts like this. And when it comes to business too, me being able to uh, be in interviews like this, it started with me starting the business and saying, I have something that I want to share. I can help people in a certain way. And you start networking and you start talking to people. People start hearing about it, right? It doesn't happen overnight. And I think that's where people get hung up. The starting stops them, right? They don't even want to start because, oh my gosh, I'm starting from scratch. Well, everybody needs to start somewhere. Anyone, and go read books, go read biographies, or whatever books that talk about the beginnings of companies. Go watch the movie about Bezos and Amazon, or
Right.
the origins of Apple. It's all the same. It's all the same. It starts with you having confidence in yourself and talking about it. And so my new thing these days, I've been saying, my new Martaism is self promotion is not a curse word. Many people are like, oh, how could I talk about myself? If you have a business, you have to. Otherwise, who's going to do it? It starts with you. Then people will follow suit, right? But the confidence really starts with yourself taking action. Many people think confidence will just drop on their head. It's not. And just like what I said, yeah, I have the confidence to go sing the national anthem, but I still get nervous. And so the confidence builds and it builds and it builds, and every day is a different challenge.
There's a when I was learning, to start a business, I was taking a course in business, and there's one thing a guy said, talk about self promotion. The poem, "He who whispers down the well about the things he has to sell will never make as many dollars as he who climbs a tree and hollers." I'm like, oh, I'm
Mm.
writing that down. This
Oh,
is so
wow. I
good.
need to write that down too. It's so good. It's so
Well,
true. Oh,
you know,
wow.
it'll be on the recording and it'll be there. But he said it once, and I'm like, wow, like he who whispers down a well about the wares he has to sell will never make as many dollars
Mhm.
as he who climbs a tree and hollers. So yes, you need to self promote, and also, if people remember the secret and the law of attraction.
Mhm.
And what people fail to do is like, I'm going to attract wealth and I'm going to sit on my couch and watch TV.
Mhm.
It's like, if the law of attraction works as you're going forward, whatever you're getting to is going to come towards you. And if you're not moving towards it, it's not going to move towards you. So it's like, yeah. And again, I'll quote somebody who says, it took me 30 years to become an overnight success.
There you go.
It's people don't see the background. They don't say like, oh yeah, it's so easy for you. Like, you do
Mhm.
not. And
No.
again, being a magician, I've talked to world class magicians that I'm like, this is just the most beautiful thing. It was, and the years it took me to get even half this good.
Mhm.
And then the years it took me to get here,
Mhm.
no one knows.
Yep.
And it is like pumping a well. You can't pump it a couple of times. Oh, the water's not coming out, and you give
Yep.
up. The water's almost there, and you just give
Uh-huh.
up just before it goes back down. So again, your perseverance, and I'm going to sing, the national anthem. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to help women. Um, Let me ask you, who is your best customer? You're the best person for what you do. Who is the solopreneur woman, the wannabe solopreneur woman, the all my kids just went to college. I have all this time. I don't know what to do now. What is your
Yeah, I help women in the early stages when they're just trying to figure out their offers. That is one of my favorite things is to say, oftentimes women that are starting their businesses will come to me and they're like, my big dream is that I want to help mentor women, moms of astronauts. I'm like, well, do you know any moms of astronauts? No, not yet. Well, then I say, let's take it down a notch. Let's start helping the people that are already in your community because the goal is for us to start making money right off the bat to keep you motivated and to get this thing off the ground. So I help women from figuring out who they're serving, what transformation they're helping with, to women that are already established, that already have a client base, but now they're wanting more visibility or they're wanting to scale their business and kind of take a step back and let their team take care of it. Uh, it really goes across the spectrum there. Typically, women with service based businesses. So other coaches, helping mentor uh, people across, different industries like health, um, whatever, uh, business mentorship, anything in that area. And women that are self motivated, women that know that they're going to have to put in the work, just like what we're saying. It's not just going to fall off. We're all looking for the magic pill or the big break. Who am I going to meet today that is going to invest in my business or connect me with that one person that's going to change everything? We can't live like that and we can't build a business like that. You are your big break. Let's just say it that way. You showing up every day is you creating the big break and the big opportunities for you. So that's my ideal client.
yeah? But what I'm hearing from you is you're expecting that big break, but if you don't do the basics, if you
Mhm,
don't have the foundation, if that big break comes and you're not ready for it,
mhm.
you might as well not even have gotten it. So
Yeah,
again, the what I'm seeing and what I'm reading for you is you teach people, you teach women the foundation. Get this going.
yes.
Do this. There are certain steps you need to take. If you
Mhm,
haven't taken these steps, don't expect that big break
mhm.
because if it comes, you're not ready, and
Exactly.
it's gonna be worse, and then you're gonna completely fall off the wagon
Yeah,
because it. So
so true.
how do people reach you? What's the best way to reach you, and how can they
Well,
find you
I
besides
do
like just googling your name and you show up everywhere?
that is what I've been saying. Just Google Marta Spirk and you'll find me in some capacity, but I am visible. I practice what I preach, but I hang out the most on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I do have my own podcast. It's called The Empowered Woman. You can search me on any podcast platform. I do have my books on Amazon. You can go and check that out. My website is martaspirk.com. And finally, if you listen to music on Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere else, you can search for my name and you'll find me there too.
And we've just completely gone over the books part. Let's step back.
Okay.
Tell me about your books.
Yeah, so the first one really tells my story from immigrating, having triplets, and getting started on this crazy entrepreneurial ride. And the foundations that you just talked about, it really starts with you taking a good look at yourself, analyzing talk. What are you telling yourself? How are you meeting yourself? That is the foundation of business. Learning to handle rejection, learning to handle uh, situations with people when you're talking to prospects and clients that at times is not the most comfortable thing, but really realizing that entrepreneurship is just such a great way for you to know what you're made of, right? If you really want to challenge yourself, get married, have kids, start a business. There you go. Right? I mean, it'll
That's
hold up.
that's jumping. jumping off a cliff and growing wings on the way down, basically is.
Pretty
But you
much,
did it with
pretty much.
triplets. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a
it's
rodeo. That's a rodeo right there.
it is, it is. So I share more on that, and then I share these foundational steps. There are 5 steps. Notice yourself, listen to yourself, forgive yourself, empower yourself, and transform yourself. And then last year, I got to publish a second book in a similar format, but a little bit different approach. Using these 5 steps, I had 21 of my clients write a chapter about their journey of empowerment.
Oh,
So,
wow.
different stories from overcoming illnesses, strained relationships, divorces, all kinds of things. They share being caretakers and struggling with being caretakers for family members. It's just amazing to hear these other stories because I got to share mine in the first one. The second one, I'm like, I'm not the only one. Here you go, which means you can do this too. So it's been great,
I love that. So you're available everywhere on the internet.
pretty much.
I think it's very important for people to reach you just because, like, I want to do, but I don't, what's my first step? Call Marta. Marta
Yes, please.
will like, okay, what is your first step? This is, you have a lot of free information out there, but I think a one-on-one with you would be like stupendous, especially if
Yes.
you have more than one kid.
I agree. I really do agree. This is one of my favorite things, honestly, is because at times I second guess myself as well. I'm only human, but after having a
Right.
coaching call with someone, I'm like, dang, I know some stuff. I've been through some things.
And people are like, "How do you know that?" I'm like, "I'm old. I've done a lot of stuff." So
There you
yeah,
go.
for me, it's old news for you. You've never heard it before, so
Mhm.
it's fun to do that. People go, oh, "I never
Yes,
thought of it that
that's
way." It's like,
awesome.
yeah,
Mhm.
uh, it's this has been fun. We should do it again,
Yes,
and
definitely.
I will. Whoa, look at that!
Wow! That is so funny that you have that. I need
Listen,
to buy one for
we only got
myself.
3 stars so far, so we're trying to catch up to Germany and you guys in Brazil, but
Okay.
we're just going to keep going. I thank you for this time
Okay.
together,
Thank
and
you.
hopefully we'll see you soon and do this again, and probably by your third or fourth book in Seventh Child. So it would be
Oh, I don't know about that one, but sure. Books, yes. Children, no.
a good idea.